Shah from RSA Logistics, who will be moderating. Abhishek. Donna Benton, the founder and CEO of The Entertainer. Donna, thank you for being here. And Lauren.
Hello? Okay. Good morning, guys. So, as Alan introduced us, my name is Abhishek Shah. I am the co-founder and managing director of RSA Logistics. I'm also an Endeavor entrepreneur. So, I've been an Endeavor entrepreneur for about a year and a half now. And when Noor asked me to moderate the panel, I was first a little bit, I was like, I've never really moderated a panel. I've always been on the other side here, talking about my experience. But when I looked at the topic, I was like, this is a problem for me that I actually have right now. So I thought this was a great opportunity for me to learn, but also to ask some questions that I hope that the audience can learn as well. So if there's any very specific questions, that's probably coming from me personally. But to move on and get into that, I'd love for each of you to maybe just introduce yourselves a bit to the crowd. Not everybody may know who you are and your business. And just tell us a bit about your growth story and how you came to be the company you are today, and particularly the people growth stories that you've had over the period. Donna, with you?
Hello everybody, my name is Donna Benton and I'm the founder and chairman of The Entertainer. For those who don't, does everyone know what The Entertainer is?
Yeah.
Okay, no, I don't need to go through that. So I started The Entertainer at a really high level 16 years ago. I felt there was a niche in the market for incentives. There wasn't enough incentives when I first came here. There was more than 10% off sort of diners club, but there was no real incentive to get people to restaurants and attractions. So I thought if I could create enough incentive in the form of a 2-for-1 and barely any restrictions, then hopefully at that time it would work. So there I was, I actually had no money at the time, so I went down to the internet cafe and I was doing my feasibility, studying everything there. Then I ran pretty much all the restaurants, had to go through the PAs, that was really hard work to get to the right people. And actually my first appointment was at the Marriott. I got into a taxi, didn't really know where the Marriott was, and they signed on the spot 7 merchants. So that actually gave me the confidence really to then keep going, to go to the next people, go to the attractions and build from there. So we've really come from, in my first year we had roughly 97 merchants and sold 997 books at that time. Now we're in one country with 1 employee. Now we have 250 staff, we're in 15 countries, 15 offices, and we have over 10,000 merchants, and now we've gone from print also to digital. So that's my Entertainer from where I was to where I am now. And then the growth of the Entertainer really has come over the years. I was a really big believer of crawling before you could walk. So everybody in the first 3-4 years, they got the concept, they loved it. I want to go here, I want to go to Qatar, Bahrain, I want to go to Sweden. Every country was plucked out. But I was a really big believer of you have to do one country or city right first, and then you move to the next one. Because for me it was also about, I didn't really have so much money to employ a lot of staff. There was really only me and a couple of other people trying to do everything. So one big thing for me is I really wanted to learn everything in the business. So whether it be going to the economic department, doing the legalities, going to the printers, so all of that along the way I actually learned. So that was a good thing for me. And I suppose one of the other growth spurts for us was we had a private equity company come to us in 2012, a Barrage Group now, and they acquired 50% of the company, and that really enabled us what we would normally do in 8 years to do in 3. So that was really our digital expansion and our international expansion. So that's a very quick overview of where the Entertainer is.
Very, very impressive, and we'll dive deep a bit further on. Roy?
So my story is a very long story. I'm going to try to keep it to 2 minutes max so that we can give you the question at the end. So basically I've been in the UAE for 20 years, came straight from university to take over a family company that was employing 20 people in a plumbing contracting industry, and the manufacturing of fiberglass that was employing 15 people. So when I came in, we had no organization chart. We didn't really know where we were going and what we wanted to do. I hated the business that we had, that my dad had started. So I said, why not do something, use whatever core competencies we have, if we have any, and try to grow it. So over the past 20 years, I've built 15 companies, out of which 8 are still alive, and became the world leader in all 7 of the 8 that are still alive today, catering to 80 different countries all over the region and the world, dealing with government business, so selling to government, selling to businesses and to consumers. So one of the products is boats that we do for the military, that we started out of Dubai, against all odds. The other one, for example, would be manufacturing of wakeboards and snowboards. And today we do 95% of the world's wakeboards in Jabal Ali and 30% of the world's snowboards. So again, very atypical business for the region, but it was all driven by passion, and it was my brother and I that took it from basically 35 employees to 1,500 employees today.
Wow, okay, so we have a lot of experience here. So just moving on to the next question. So how many people here in the audience have actually tried to hire for their business a general manager or an HR manager or anything like that? Anybody tried to hire that position out there? Yeah, show of hands. Okay, so from that perspective, if we could ask both of you, when we're SME, you don't really have that much money to be able to afford the best talent. We're not talking about startups, we're talking about the scale growth stage companies here. How do you attract that kind of talent? What are the policies you involved or instituted in your companies to be able to attract those best people, but you couldn't pay them a lot? What do you do?
Well, for the entertainer, that is a big challenge in fairness in starting up. You want to employ them, but you can't fund them. So my suggestion would be, do everything you can until you really need somebody. So everybody wants a CFO or a CEO or a finance manager or whatever it may be. So don't employ those people until you really need them. So I really did everything myself until I needed that specific person to save money. The other thing, you have to constantly incentivize as well. So depending on the industry that you're in, it depends on the position that you're employing. So you have to incentivize also at the same time in some shape or form. If you can't afford to give them a high salary, maybe you could put them on an ESOP, which we call it an employment share option plan. So there's certain things that you could do in regards to senior management. Also, one of the things I believe in personally is employing people with different strengths than you. Because a lot of people will generally employ people because they like them or they're good. It's just natural. All your friends are generally like you because that's your personality. But in work, you generally need to employ the people that are your development areas or weaknesses, whichever way you like to put it. So try and employ the people that things that you're not good at. So if you're not good commercially, well, that's the first thing you need is a finance person. Don't get a COO when you can do that role. So they're the things that I would touch base on really, is do as much as you can, wait until you really need that person, employ someone different to what you do, they need the same strengths as well.
So Abhishek, how do you attract talent? So first of all is when you need to attract the talent is key. Because the timing is not about your goals or your it's very dynamic, right? Every business is different in the when. So you really have to see the revenues, the profitability, and most importantly the cash flow. A lot of time when you're profitable, if you want an exponential growth, you don't have cash flow. You cannot bring out these high talent. And then is to see in which area you want to attract them. So in my experience, finance, operation, HR, sales, and eventually CEOs. And depending on the maturity of the business, the way I like to attract my talent is being the go-to guy in your field. So you have to really be very true to your core values personally. Right? And be who you were raised to be and stay that way even environment is against you. So if, be honest, be open, treat people the way your employees and your customers and everyone, treat them the way you would want to be treated, right? Treat your competitors the way you would like them to treat you. Don't see them as an enemy. And then eventually, when people see that you're the go-to guy in that industry and your core values are never changing and that you are there to do business and your mentality is to do business forever and to grow and be passionate about, talent comes to you. So you have to expose yourself to your competition, you have to expose yourself to the market, to events like that. You have to tell your story and eventually talent will come to you. This is the answer how to attract talent.
I think you mentioned something very interesting there. Trying to be a talent magnet is, I guess, many of us try to be that, right? We want to try and get the best people to come to you, rather than you always going to try and find them, because it just makes the job easier. But you mentioned a very interesting topic there about culture, about the core values and the core purpose. How important do you think that is when you're talking about the senior level talent, right? So your C-level executives or whatever, how important is that point to that? And what do you do about that? I mean, how do you actually make sure that they fit?
For me, it's the most important part, not only at high level, but from the smallest employee to the biggest employee. They have to be aligned with my value system. My value system is the same one that I transfer to the company and it needs to keep growing that way. And this is part of why we were able to grow so rapidly and in different geographic locations. I don't really care about what they know how to do, what they've done before. If they have the value system that I would like, if they have my value system, and they have a source for learning, that's all I'm looking for.
I think just to add on to that, I think it's great to get the talent when you've got it, but one of the key things is keeping the talent. You really have to keep the talent as well. You've got to engage your staff. You have to really work with them. One thing Roy said, which also is certainly one of my values, a lot of them actually that he said, is you wouldn't ask anyone to do something that you wouldn't ask yourself to do. So leading by example is really, really important. Even if it's spilling a cup of coffee on the floor, no one's too precious not to clean it up. So that's that. You can lead by example, because the thing is, you have to earn respect. You don't just get respect. That's really important from people looking up to you. And you have to have your core values. You have your core values within your company, but you have to have your core values personally. And I'm the same as Roy. I look at CVs, I look at what people do. But if they've got the work ethic and the passion, they can always learn something. Sure, if you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer, yes, you need a CV. But you can actually mould people your way. I always call when I donorize them, that you can do it into your way. But if they've got the passion, the loyalty and the trust, that can go a long way for you.
Okay, so just one more question, and dive a little bit deeper. So apart from leading by example, which is what you guys mentioned, what particular tools or techniques during the recruitment process, talent acquisition process, have you employed for making sure that senior level talent gap is a fit for you from a value system point of view? Anything in particular that you?
I've got pretty much one or two. So for me, they have to be a right cultural fit. So, and that's not saying nationality-wise, they have to have the right fit within your company. So for the entertainer, we're a lifestyle company. We're dealing with restaurants, attractions. We're fun. This is our lifestyle. So somebody that's not so lifestyle-y, or bubbly, depending on the role, that sort of wouldn't fit. So the person has to fit within the company. It's got to be the right person on the bus, on the right seat for that position, and then you can move forward from there. So that would be my biggest thing.
How do you measure that that's the right person? Is it just a gut feel?
It's a gut. Not with me, it's a gut feel.
Okay,
yeah.
So there's no...
Unless it's a senior role.
Yep.
But you think this person's never done sales before, they've got a great personality, they know what they're talking about, they're in the industry, I'm going to give them a go. I'm going to give them that opportunity. And probably for me more, I actually never went to university or did anything like that. So, and I think that turned out okay. So I would like to give other people opportunities to be able to have that as well.
Cool, thank you.
So if you go to the internet or into books, you decision to see that he can be a right fit or not. But throughout the time, 20 years of recruiting people, so we've recruited people from Harvard, from the worst universities, with no university degree, and I found it to be kind of irrelevant, the degree that they have. And what I noticed is that the best people that have grown in our company are people that have grown from within the company.
Yeah.
So in that way they came, some people came as a helper with a salary of 300 dirhams, and now they're chief operating officer. So these are people that were able to learn, that were able to advance, that was hungry for reaching, and you back them up and you give them wings to fly, and then that's the best way to find something to do. And most of the time they're right here in front of you.
Sure.
So take time. People don't see and they don't listen. They're too busy.
Yeah.
Whether it's on their phone, on their social media, or putting off fires at their work. So take time for you to be able to see what's out there, because some of the best people are already within your organization.
Okay. So you hear that, folks? There's no real formula. It's all about gut feel.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. You made that really easy.
Don't worry about the CVs.
And the ingrown people are the people that we will not have an issue to retain.
Yep.
And to answer the question of how to retain or challenge to retain them, my logic is I don't want to retain anyone. I want to give them wings and let them fly wherever the wings take them. And I want to keep, some people, they retain people by keeping them over busy. They might be unhappy because they're busy. They don't have time to look elsewhere, right? So my approach is different. Is back them up, give them more knowledge, keep them challenged, keep pushing them forward, and don't think about retaining them.
I think just to add another thing to the stuff is everybody has different triggers, and you have to find out within your company what people like. So some person on your team, it might be monetary, another one might be recognition, they don't care about the money. So it might be, oh wow, they've recognised my birthday and got a cake. So it really just depends on the person really, and it's really getting to know the people within your company. That also goes a long way also. That's one thing that's really worked for me.
Okay. So Don, a very specific question to you. I mean, whoever has been in the audience here for over 10 years in Dubai will remember the entertainer books that were with those perforated sheets that used to take and used to have to hold them and take them out to
I forgot my voucher.
Which I liked more than the app, by the way.
Well, we've converted 93%, so you're the 7%.
I'm 7%.
All right, we can take that offline.
I'll do a special book for you, Roy.
But so moving from the hard paperback books to the technology app platform was a complete shift in business model, the way you engage with your customers and your audience.
Yeah.
Talk about the people side of that. What did you change in your organization from the people front to get the right people on the bus? I mean, quoting Jim Collins there, to make sure that you're able to do that transformation successfully. So how was that journey from a people point of view?
Yeah, it was a big journey. It was a risky one. No, it was, the digital transformation has been amazing for the company. We've had amazing feedback. As I just said, we've converted 93% people globally to the app now. But within the company, our CIO, we had to, David Ashford, who you know, he runs our amazing e-business team. And firstly, we actually got him just to consult for us to start off with and to look at how we would be going digital. I used to have a lot of people come to me prior to that saying, you need a card, you need a swipe card. And it had to be simplistic, it had to be simple, it had to be easy to use, not just for the customer but also for the merchant at the same time. So David then came on board full time, and then it was up to him, he had to build his team. So the only problem for me a little bit for digital was I didn't know a lot about it. So I always call it the dark art, you never know, you can throw millions at it and nothing's going to happen. So one thing that I really had to do is I had to trust, and I went with my gut feeling at times. Obviously I looked a lot closer at figures and where we were going and what we were. I really had to have belief and trust in David to start off with, and then all my team really had to support him along the way. Now from David, we then now have an office in Lahore as well. So everything we do digital, we do in-house. We have around about 25 guys in the hall, and they do all our programming for all the different phones, and we also have them on call whenever we want, if there's a change or rearrange. And then all of our other digital is centralised in the office as well. So we have probably another 25 people just working on digital. So that's our digital of e-business. But one of our other big changes was then you have somebody like our design department, whereby they're so used to doing all the books, all of a sudden they think they're out of a job because we don't really have many books left. So of course I didn't want them out of a job. I wanted to, as what Roy was just saying, you want to keep good people, they've been loyal along the way, they've been there for the journey. What else can they do within the company? So then what I did with our design team is I put them more onto the marketing department. So we do not so much above the line now, we do a lot of digital marketing. So now they're really busy with all our creatives that we do, and that's just not here, that's globally. So I found different ways to utilise them. You know, our content team, they were too busy, you know, on all the books now. Now their role's a little bit changed as well because it's more app focused. So it was a big change in our office, but to be honest, pretty much all the staff that we had while we had print, we retained, except for e-business, we had to bring a lot of people in because we didn't have a digital department then. But a lot of the people that we had in there, we've actually kept, which is great, and found different things. So it was scary for them. It's the fear of the unknown for a lot of people. But I also believe if you don't take risks in life, you don't get anywhere at the same time as well. And you have to move forward.
Absolutely. I mean, it looks like, if I got this correctly, it's now 80% of your revenues are going through digital. That's a big shift from what it was before to now.
Yeah, well, it's 93.
Oh, congratulations.
93%.
That's good.
Yeah, which is good. And to be honest, next year we'll probably have no books. What do you want from Roy? But yeah, that's where we're going. It's a whole digital space. The other great thing with digital is our sales department. It used to be signed up annually. You had your book where merchants could go in it. Now with the digital side of things, our sales team are constantly signing up people throughout the year. It's tactical. If you're opening a restaurant next week, we can put you straight on the app. It's valid till the end of the year. So we have a lot more flexibility with the merchants at the same time as well.
Cool. Thank you. So, Roy, somebody once told me that the two hardest positions to find in any company are CEOs and secretaries. Right? You can't find good people there easily. So, from your perspective, with all these companies that you've had, you probably hired a lot of CEOs. So, what's that been like? I mean, hiring the guy that has to run, or the lady that has to run your business on your behalf, or your idea execute on your behalf. How has that journey been in finding those people and to be that one accountable person in charge of you?
So for me, hiring a secretary is harder than hiring a CEO because they have to deal with me almost. The CEO reports to my secretary. So for the secretary, which is my secretary, they have to be psychic. So they have to be able to read my mind.
Have you found any?
All of them are.
Okay.
All of the secretaries are.
We all know where to recruit from.
Yeah.
So for the CEO, again, it comes back to the value system. So like Donna was saying, some people are driven by money, some people are driven by different things. So you have to find people that are driven by what drives you. So if money is not something that drives you, then you have to look at what drives you and try to hire people in what drives you. So for me, it's a journey, enjoying the journey and making this world a better place in whatever business that I'm doing. So keeping a mark and doing an honest job each time. So in some industries you would say that's impossible to find. For example, in the contracting industry, you would say there's no way you can find someone that shares your value system, but no, you can. So again, procedures on how to hire the CEO and the challenge. So the main challenge for me in hiring the CEO was the different geographic location CEOs, because in different countries, people are driven by different things, and their value system might be very different from your value system. So the challenge was finding them. But again, every single CEO that I found that stuck and was successful are people that actually found me.
Okay, good.
So hearing in the industry what I was about, what was driving me, they came to me in a position of wanting to be a CEO, and then they got the position, and they are still there and being very successful.
Interesting. All right, so let's
The most important thing for the CEO also. So I serve on some public listed companies on the board, and so I have a lot of interaction with. I used to serve actually. I resigned from all of them because of that. Is that you don't want CEOs from big corporations or these people are all talk and they're not
You need
genuine.
action.
They're not genuine and
they can't get their hands dirty, right? I mean, that's
they're prima donna babies. They cannot get nothing. They cannot communicate to you in the way they should communicate to you. So stay away from politics.
we have made the room. Thank you.
Go with the guards, don't make a big companies.
All right, so now let's move to the other side now. This was all the journey, the success, the good stuff. But now let's get real about big mistakes and challenges when it comes to the people side. Have you guys ever had any big mishire or a very critical position, a huge risk that you took that you have sort of buried away and don't want to talk about again? Oh, my job is to make me talk about it. So anything there from anybody?
Plenty of bad experiences, plenty of people. So I mean, we went through a lot of different systems to hire. So from hiring family members, you hit a big wall and you become a mess. From hiring friends.
What was the learning from all that? What was the learning that once you go through that, you just
Don't do it again.
The learning is that be true to your values, no matter who it is in front of you. So if it's a friend, if it's a family member, if it's whoever, if they are not fulfilling what you want them to fulfill within your core system and align with your strategy. Because sometimes not only the values, so you have a strategy set in place and you know where you want your company to go. And a lot of people come on board and you keep feeding them your strategy and they keep diverting from that strategy. So then it's a misfit. Right? And you cannot know that until they're on board. Whether they're going to be like an arrow or they're going to be all over the place. So what you learn from it is keep moving, don't look back, and don't despair in people. So at a certain point you will think that all people are crap and it's impossible to find good talent. But in reality, no, good talent is out there. And it's getting harder and harder to find it for sure. But give it a chance and eventually you will find it.
Yeah, I think, sure, you have to make mistakes, you have to learn by them. You certainly employ wrong people, that they look fantastic, it's your gut feeling, and it might look good on a CV, they start, they're useless. So, they have to go. But I do have one personal rule that I don't employ friends or family, because you end up supposed to like loaning money, you lose the money, you lose the friend. But
I feel there's a story there.
there's no story. I've just seen so many bad experiences from employees. Someone employs one of their good friends or their family, and they're not actually that great at their job when they start. Like they were saying, it's very hard to let them go again. So that's one of my personal rules. Then you have things along the way, I just mentioned later, but where you might employ somebody. I had one situation, I employed a general manager. We were a lot smaller then, he was great at the time, he energised the team, he was great. But then as you get bigger, they get lost in a way. So they're not qualified for that. He might be good for 50 people, but not really qualified for 150. So then it's the opportunity then to, okay, now we have to let you go, or try and put him in another position, or make him redundant, or however you want to decide what to do with him. So that was one thing, that's probably one of my big ones, is we had a GM and I had to let him go because we didn't...
The organisation outgrew the person.
Yeah, I employed a COO, I retained a CEO at that time, and then the organisation actually outgrew them. So you'll find that a lot. Bear in mind in startups and things that you will get a person or something for the right job. Might be the finance manager. In 3 years' time, the company's outgrowing him, you need somebody a little bit better. Sure. And that happens, well that should happen anyway. There's no need to get rid of them, but someone just maybe has to come over them at times.
Cool. I want to open it up to the audience for any questions now. I mean, we have some fantastic experience and stories here. Fire away with the questions. Yes, one at the back over there. Can we get them a mic, please? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Zainab. I'm the founder of New Shifts. side of the coin where there are lots of senior people who are looking to make a jump and they don't know where to start, and the current recruitment industry does not really enable them to start a different industry, a different function, a different region maybe than what they do. I think startups can be a good way to actually enable these type of people who are looking for a change and looking for something different, to give them the chance and learn from each other. And New Shift is actually that concept where we match people who are looking for a change just in exchange for the exposure without expecting any salary on temporary engagements, matched with the startups where they contribute with their learning in exchange for the exposure to a new place. Maybe they want to become entrepreneurs as well, so it's a chance for them to try out. I just want to draw a point to that and probably advise myself. You should come on. Thank you very much.
The only thing I would touch base just with that, just to remember, is if you've got a corporate COO, for example, and they would then, as you were saying, to get out of the corporate world and to start up in an entrepreneurial world, is if you've got a company and you're starting, and all of a sudden the senior management comes to you from a corporate, you have to be either prepared to pay them, or you have to be prepared to give up some of your shares in your company, or they have to invest some money. So there's also different scenarios where that could come into play as well. Great if you want to give up some of your company, or need capital or things like that. But I certainly would be very surprised if a senior management from a corporate came in a startup company and took a drop in salary for no reason at all. That's the only thing that I would say to that. But great if you want to do something together and build a company, that's also fantastic as well.
Great. Any final questions before Noor chops my head off there? Any more? Great. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for your time.